All right, good morning, good evening, good night. It is the Nifty Q Show. We are interviewing founders, leaders, and builders in the non-fungible token industry. Today I'm sitting with Crypto Buffalo, founder of Hardfork Gaming, a Valheim aficionado, a McDonald's employee, recent, and a good friend of mine. We'll be chatting about his journey from RV life to NFTs, what needs to change about the current play-to-earn model, and much more. Buff, man, good to see your face in these rough times. I appreciate you on your return to LADZ City. What's up, my man?
Oh, it's good to be back in the city, man. It gives me them vibes like when I'm on Las Vegas Boulevard, walking the streets, looking around, seeing all the new faces here in LADZ City. Man, you've been doing some amazing things over here, and it's good to be on Nifty Q Show. This is a first for me, man. I'm honored, brother. This is time for me and you to have a good chat. We're in a bear market right now. My dog's name is Mr. Bear. I've been preparing for this since the last cycle. And it's good to have a friend like you to discuss all these crazy things, man. So thanks for having me on here, man.
Absolutely, man. I checked out your episode yesterday. That's why I said McDonald's aficionado. Apparently, you were just like, yo, it's you. Joe was at Taco Bell. Matt was at Taco Bell. Joe was at where? Burger King. He was loving
Burger King.
Our way. So it is that way for us right now, man. But
yeah, I remember I actually got footage. That's me. There we go. My old job.
Taking orders. There and back again, a story by Crypto Buffalo, which is going to be the topic of conversation, man. I really, one of the coolest things, and one of the things you're best at is just telling just phenomenal in-depth stories. And one of those stories is about how you were traveling around the world or traveling around the U.S. In your RV, just living day to day, and finding crypto, and then it leading to obviously NFTs, the Metaverse, everything we were doing at LADZ City, and now Hardfork, man. It's been a wonderful, I'm sure, and adventure-filled journey for you.
I feel like I've ran a parallel life to Forrest Gump on many levels. I haven't really had the Medal of Honor yet, or been a ping pong master, or learned how to run nonstop across every state, but I have had that journey where at one point I literally had a massive beard and turned and stopped and turned to my disciples and said, I'm kind of tired. I think I'll go home now. I mean, that's how I felt. 10 years on the road, and I just decided to come on back to Seattle. And on the road, all sorts of crazy things happen. But to go back to how it all started, I mean, let's be honest. How many times in your life, Q, have you thought, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to sell everything, go live on the road. I'm just going to go travel on a van or a bus or live on a boat. Have you had those dreams before?
I've had the dreams, but not many people follow through on those dreams, which is the key component here.
It's true. It's that 4-letter word, man. Fear, right? Mm. And I use that fear to motivate me to get out there. See, I turned 24 in 2008, broke up with a girl that everyone thought we were going to get married. I was 3 years with her, and I didn't even know what the hell was going on in life yet. And so I just turned 24 and was like, friends in high school said I had this like vision all along. I was always rambling about living in an RV. I don't remember any of that, but apparently that's what I do. Is I always kind of talk out my dreams to anyone who will listen, and then try to swing for the fences to make it happen. At the beginning of 2008, after I broke up with the girl, I was like, all I could do every night in my shitty ass apartment was visualize myself out on the road, going to the Grand Canyon, working with the UFC in Vegas. Like I literally had all those visualization dreams, like just nonstop, to the point where I had to do it or else I would literally be dead inside. And that was one of those big things where it was April 10th, 2008. I already bought the RV off of Craigslist and I hit the road. No plan. Had no idea. I just had cojones on me, bro. I was like, I can take on the world, man. I'm a freelance cameraman, editor. I'm just going to hit the country and see what happens. And I left Seattle, Washington, and like a moth to a flame, I went to Las Vegas and just got destroyed. No, I mean, it was a lot. I mean, the first couple years, I was trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. And as a freelance cameraman, though, it was one of those that gives you the confidence to literally be anywhere. And if people know your skill sets, they'll put you to work. And so I got a job right away in Vegas shooting tourist videos up in helicopters over the Las Vegas Strip and shooting the Bellagio fountain shows and all that shit. And to me, it was awesome, man. And on the road, I had a lot of fun adventures. Eventually got to work with the UFC, which was my bucket list. Got to track down Dana White and finally work there at some of the major fights during 2011 to 2013. And in 2017, I was on a farm in Georgia, and I was literally miles away from anyone else. And I had good internet connection, and I came across a documentary called The the rise and rise of Bitcoin. And bro, I still get goosebumps when I think about this moment, because when I finally came across that documentary, I never looked into Bitcoin. I thought it was Minecraft currency, bro. I thought people were playing Minecraft and then, hey, I'll give you some of my currency if you give me that taco or some shit in real life. And to me, I never looked into it until I watched that documentary. And halfway through the documentary, hit pause, stood up, and was like, yes, the money revolution is here. And I can get behind this. And it's only gotten crazier. I'm no longer a cameraman or doing any of that stuff. I'm in the space full time as a director of content creation. And I'm all in, man. This journey's brought me all the way to here.
There's a lot of questions to break down there, and I think we can go in depth about that, like 10-year, 15-year period.
Yeah, I jumped a couple things there, yeah.
Just a tad. Was there any similarities between when you jumped in to the RV life to when you had to jump in, or not had to, but just felt yourself compelled to jump into crypto?
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. 100%. I remember the feeling, because I would try to tell anybody and everybody to look and watch the documentary, Rise and Rise of Bitcoin. They're like, you were like this with juice fasting. Watch Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I'm like, yeah, well, both of them could change your life. And they have for me. And it was one of those, like, anyone and everybody who would listen to me, you know, they may not have got it. Only a couple of friends actually looked into anything back in 2017. I felt crazy. And sometimes in my life, when I feel crazy and everyone else is doubting or can't see what I see, that doesn't mean I stop. If anything, sometimes that means they go even further. And when I bought the RV, I had friends and sadly family tell me, you're going to be back in a year, or you're going to be back in a month, or, you know, it was one of those, how long are you going to be gone and out there? And that's like, how long do you know if you're going to live? Like, it's such a weird question to ask. And to me, it was one of those, like, a lot of people doubted it because they themselves have wanted to do that. And I think with crypto, a lot of people doubt it because they never looked into it. So they just can't even understand it. No one thinks for themselves anymore. They think for the 5 o'clock news thinks for them and tells them Bitcoin and Warren Buffett won't buy any, so you shouldn't buy any crap. And I think for me, it's one of those, if people are doubting what I see, but what I see keeps me up at night, I'm going to follow what keeps me up at night over anyone else. I don't even care, man. Even my dog, Mr. Bear. I'm sorry. He could be against crypto. I'm still going to be in this game. I love it to death.
How quickly did you make the transition from crypto to NFTs? Like, when did you pick up on the metaverse? When did you pick up that all these things were happening?
Well, it's funny. I just had Stash on, Crypto Stash, right? And he's an OG as well. Got in 2017 on his YouTube channel. Was in crypto back in 2012 for a little bit. And he got in it, you know, the crypto kitties in 2017. I was not looking into NFTs in 2017. Didn't even know what they were yet. It was traditional tokens, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and all that jazz. Of course, the market crashed at the end of 2017. 2018 was nothing but bear, as we're all in right now. And what did I do? I started the Crypto Buffalo Report, and I would do videos on all sorts of the different little golden nuggets of what I was seeing in the space. And to me, it was one of those that I didn't still get NFTs or any of that. I think it was COVID. COVID really, in 2020, what happened with COVID, me being a cameraman that works live sports and live events, everything shut down. And so I didn't have work for 2 months. And I was in my apartment with my new puppy dog. And I just watched YouTube videos and eventually came across this really cool show called NFT Live. And hey, wait, I think you're a part of that, right? And that changed everything, man.
Yeah, and we met in the metaverse too, right? Like, we met in Sandbox. As much as we can sit on here for the next 30 minutes and talk shit about Sandbox, although we love the team over there, it's with Sebastian and co. We did meet kind of in the metaverse, correct?
Sandbox started it all. That's exactly right. And see, I didn't even understand yet. When my first NFTs ever were actually what's called X nodes, which are these little NFTs that go in your wallet. For me, I'm a big fan of VeChain, which is crazy because VeChain just did a $100 million sponsorship with UFC. I don't know what's happening there. That caught me off guard. But it was one of those, like, I wanted to get really heavy into VeChain. COVID crashed. I chose VeChain as one of my bags I wanted to stack. They had this thing called X nodes, which are these little NFTs that you hold in your wallet. And if you keep yourself above a certain threshold, you produce more yield. But if you sell off and you hold that node still, the node will actually disappear. It'll burn away itself if you drop below a certain threshold of your account balance. Reminds me of Bank of America. When I went below a certain amount, they fined me with something. But in this case, the NFT was one that people were constantly moving money out of their wallet, and the NFT was just burning away. So I was like, these things aren't going to be around much longer. And so I scooped up a couple of them, and then I watched NFT Live. But before that, I actually bought a plot on the Sandbox, and I almost called it the Sandlot there, bro. And that was when right. Yeah. And I bought a 3x3 connected to the Atari, one of the big Atari plots. And then from there, I was like, let me go and look at my neighbors here. I can see all these other little businesses and websites. I saw Crypto Stash. I saw some Army one. And then I saw Layer 1 Crypto, which was your guys' network with you and Dimitri and the podcast. I clicked on your YouTube, and that's when I saw one of the first episodes of NFT Live. I was like, you were one of the first people talking about NFTs in that way. You, Crypto Stash, and a couple others. And to me, it was like, you all see it. You're ahead of the game, and you have an amazing show title called NFT Live. I was all in, man. I was hooked, dude. If you didn't let me come work for LADZ, I'd be every day just trolling that comment section of NFT Live. I'm telling you right now, bro. I'd watch every episode.
What brought you into the metaverse initially? Like, you went from owning X nodes to being like, hey, I really believe in this thing that's like the metaverse. And that's how, again, we got connected for the first time. But the fact that you were even in Sandbox at that point, and then you had this idea that you would, if my memory is correct, you had this idea that you would throw events in the Sandbox, you know, like those thoughts processes that you had, I think are important, because I think you also have this idea that we will get there one day. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, I felt like I was almost 2 cycles ahead in certain ways. I remember at one point I was talking to a neighbor downstairs and I was telling him, yeah, they're not going to say NFT. That takes too long. They'll probably say NIFT. I was close.
You heard it here first.
I was so close. They call it Nifty. Like, and then so I wanted NFT Island. So I got NFTisland.com. I had this whole thing where I wanted to get land in every major metaverse and have an island in every major metaverse that would go broadcast live every day at a certain time. And I had this whole kind of built out in my head, a 24-hour streaming channel, but purely about metaverse. And I'm still loving that idea. And down the road, I think that will be something either I created or someone else will, because as these metaverses get bigger, there's going to be so much going on. People are going to want to know what happens here and there so they can kind of keep up with stuff. And I think it was one of those, for me, it started with the sandbox style of gaming, Rust. It was a big one that I played back in the day. You spawn as like almost like a caveman type dude. You're like naked holding a rock. And you need to either go survive or find somebody who will take care of you and bring you into their shelter. And I was like, I can't wait for this in the metaverse where I can have a plot and I can bring people over and I can even pay them in tokens and they can become a tourist on my plot and it's an attraction and people come in and there's concerts. I could see all of that. We all know it's taking time. Excuse me. I think it's one of those. I was a little early on that, but the vibe, I believe, like Ready Player One, we're definitely dabbling in what's potentially possible in the metaverse, and I think it's only going to get crazier every year moving forward. And your show was that big part because you talked about the sandbox. You talked about the land sale and the other land sale and the other land sale and the other land sale and all those other land sales. And so we got to watch sandbox suddenly just become this massive thing that, kind of blew me away.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that, like you said, we're still kind of a couple cycles or maybe one cycle away from seeing like in reality. But a lot of things you weren't, early for. You were right on time. So I do want to get to that. I also want to get to the chat, guys. I see you there in chat giving Buffalo some love. Hash Rhymes, of course, was first. Aww. Had to give you some love. DJ Savage, Bubble here for the first time. Shout out to you, Bubble. This is the Nifty Q Show. We're interviewing people every week here around 2-3 p.m. Eastern Standard on Tuesdays and Thursdays going forward after NFT NYC. I see Hardcore Gaming Digits and Asmodai saying, Buffalo, you're looking buff.
Am I? Jeez, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's the filter on my camera, but I got work on these. These are like gardener snakes. I need pythons. All right.
So getting back to the convo, man, we were early definitely on seeing some of these things. I think we will see metaverse events and daily metaverse shows and things like this in the future. It's going to be awesome because we're going to look back and say, remember when we thought that this was going to happen? But you were actually hitting on a lot of things in that 2021 time frame. What was the investment thesis and like what was your journey in that time frame? With LADZ City, but also like personally investing. Like where have you come? In that time since that day?
Jeez, I've learned so much, man. And I'm not shy about telling you about my losses, too, because I feel like that's important in this space where I believe in the tech. I love people, and people sometimes ruin the tech. All right. And that's just the straight honest truth of what we've seen, where we've seen a lot of rugs. I love DAOs. I'm a sucker for DAOs, man, because of the potential of a utopian type of community that comes together where everyone has the vote and we'll trust the centralized group that started the DAO with our funds to begin with, and eventually they'll give us control. Well, I think like 3 out of the 4 DAOs that I've jumped into all rugged completely at some point, and some just couldn't make it work too. So it wasn't truly we're taking the money and run. It was like it's the tokenomics just didn't fit that model. So a lot of the DAOs that I gone into, it didn't. I think again, it's an early stage, or maybe just not the right ones. There's so many of them, as you know. But I think what happened, and I got lucky with this, especially when I met you in August of 2020, was I did put some land down or buy some land in the Sandbox. I bought a bunch of land in Vulcanverse, and I set it and forget it, like that rotisserie chicken, thing that you put your chicken in, you set it for a couple hours, you come on back, and that, just set it and forget it mindset for me worked really well, because I'll be honest with you, dude, if I wasn't creating content with you and I was sitting there every week watching the price as Sandbox started getting bigger, as Vulcanverse, I probably would have sold earlier, but I didn't. I just literally forgot about them as we got so busy with NFTs. For me, when I joined you in August of 2020, I was like, okay, we're early. It's going to take a while. All right. Nobody's going to be talking about NFTs. And then SNL in February drops a rap video about NFTs. And I'm like, this is happening way too quick. I'm not ready. And I was like, tsunami time, bro. Oh my God, I should get off the beach right now. And it got crazy, and it sped up so fast that even Bored Ape was that thing that happened right in front of me. It's like watching a car accident, super slow, and I could have gotten out of the way, but I didn't, and I just got wrecked. And by that, it's the opportunity. I didn't jump in. I literally watched it happen, and it's like a mindset for me. I'm either in content mode, where I'm like directing shows and I want to like do that, or I'm in investment research mode. And sometimes my brain can't handle both, and I almost turn off any business opportunity. I'm doing it right now. Like, I'm really not trying to put any money into the market. I'm just trying to like build. And so I think that's something that helped me and hurt me. And so like Bored Ape was right in front of me. Hell, we were broadcasting, doing shows about it, and I never even jumped into that one. On the other hand, a lot of people sold Sandbox early, and I was able to sell towards the top on some of my bigger stuff, realizing when I did sell, I wasn't going to build in there. I wasn't going to do what I intended to do there. And that's a big thing. When you lose that belief of what you wanted to do with your investment or what the project is doing, that's your first sign, man. You need to make a decision on how long you want to hold that. And for me, some of my projects that have decisions, that one I did, and just moved on.
What was the mindset change there with Sandbox? Like, why did you eventually say to yourself, I'm not going to be building in there?
Because we realized, I mean, honestly, me and you jumped in there. It's massive. All right. It is massive. And a 3x3 with one person, with all the other things I was doing. And I was still working for Microsoft, for a while too last year. I just knew I wasn't going to be able to take advantage of the opportunity and build something that would get back my initial investment and some. And so, yeah, it was one where kind of passed the buck to someone else who probably, I don't know if they flipped it or whatnot, but it was a great location. But it is one for me that Sandbox definitely kept getting bigger than I thought it would. And it was one too where I knew what I bought it for, I wasn't going to be able to do that anymore. And down the road, I definitely want to do something like that still. I'm very excited about the Metaverse play. And I still hold some Sandbox lands, but I don't hold the 3x3s anymore.
Which Metaverse is going to win if you had to choose one or two? Like, thoughts on
ones.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, go ahead, finish it.
No, I was going to say thoughts on, I had Arclegger on yesterday. We got into a deep conversation about Other Side. That's going to be one. And he honestly threw it out, and I wasn't even, prepared to really go into it. But he talked about it being one of like the flagship games that's going to carry the NFT gaming scene. And I didn't look at it like that. Honestly, you're looking at Alluviums, you're looking at, although Axie's getting a lot of FUD these days, like Axie, these others, he's like, no, Other Side is going to be the actual like first largely adopted game. So anyways, thoughts on like the top metaverses if you had to rank them?
I think Unreal 5 is just blowing my mind. A free engine that you could download right now. I mean, you could go and create a game right now. Like, come up with some ideas over lunch and then go back to the engine and start creating that game. 2 people. No skill set in the educational department of like that full developer career you need to create its own engine. Now you can take that engine and create games that are so realistic that we had a little thing yesterday on LFG Live too, where we were like, is this real or unreal? And I played 2 clips and people couldn't tell. Like, people were guessing real when it was unreal and vice versa. And I think that's where we're starting to get to, where people are going to lose themselves in the metaverse. And if we can have a metaverse where you can own your plot, you can develop it just like a real home and have that aura when people come in and you're hanging out with people because it's so realistic and immersive. That, to me, I think when we get a Star Atlas looking kind of AAA metaverse that is done well, I think that one's going to really pull some people in and lose themselves, just like World of Warcraft did for people when that first came around. But the blockchain is going to keep it to the level where people are going to put even more into it because they're like invested monetarily. They have the assets that they know are rare. And so these opportunities for some people, that's what I loved when I looked at Sandbox. I was like, people are going to create jobs in this. And they did. People who are artists created assets that they sold in the marketplace. I remember telling my cousin's boyfriend, he's in Costa Rica as an artist. I was like, bro, you know what you need to do is start creating in the metaverse. And that was like 2 years ago. And it was just like, what are you talking about? Now he's like, he literally hit me up. He's like, I see what you were talking about, man. I could have created all these chairs and tables and cars and people would have paid me for that. That can happen in the metaverse for many people. Their jobs now will be in the metaverse. I see that already. But honestly, I think it's going to be one of those that we get really immersed. It's a metaverse that you lose yourself in. But it's dealer's choice, man. I think it's one of those like, do you like retro? Well, there's World Wide Web metaverse right now, a top-down view like you're playing your Nintendo. And do you like animated? Well, there's Axie, and there's going to be a whole Pokemon style like that. And then if it's more of just a free-for-all world, I think there'll be some of those as well. But honestly, man, I think the ones that pulled me in and I lose myself in it. And my avatar is like so realistic too. And people feel like they actually were hanging out with you to a degree in real life because they hung out with you in that metaverse with that avatar that looks so much like you. I think that's going to come through Unreal. And I think it's going to be Unreal. And I look forward to it, man.
That's awesome. Great answer there. Asmodai saying we are still super early. Marty McFly saying buff to NFT NYC. And Mylan is giving a buff with a heart there. So buff to NFT NYC.
2023. Not 2022. I missed out in 2021 with the COVID craziness. Matt, Joe, and myself are here in San Diego, California. I got a 5-bedroom house that we've turned into a whole production hub. All three of us. I think we're the only three in the crypto space, and especially in the gaming sector, that are going to New York. So make sure to drink twice as much for me, my man. Party twice as much. Get on stage and say twice as much to represent the Buffalo.
Well, listen, man, I won't be here either. I had a super busy May. Just didn't see it in my plans, and it was just
you're not going?
It was getting closer and closer, and I was like, all right.
Okay.
Which
so you can.
I mean, maybe we made the right choice. I don't know what NFT NYC is looking like now. The old job fair. That's
going to be like an AA meeting or therapy or something. Everyone's going to sit around and talk about their losses. Or honestly, I think it's going to be amazing. I think the people that show up are the people that believe in this space. True. Are super excited. A lot of networking there. Everyone that we've been doing meetings with, they're all going and wishing we were going as well. But hey, the fact that you're not going means maybe you can jump in on some Valheim with us here. Got a custom server now, bro. He's in.
Sure. I'm going to have my feet firmly on the ground so I don't get that vertigo or whatever the heck goes on. So as far as like the timeline, because I do want to get to like how you're looking at play to earn games now that you are a founder of Hard Fork Gaming. But on that timeline, you did get invested into some PFPs. You mentioned timing being a big thing for you, whether you like have time to research or not. But when you did have time to research, what were you looking to get into? Because you did get into some PFP projects. You continued getting into like gaming projects. What were you looking for, like investment wise, when this came around?
Now, is this in 2021 or 2020?
You can hit both. Yeah. Start chronologically.
Yeah, 2020, I was really looking on new chains and seeing what's coming down the pipe. So I was watching VeChain, which I started coming across a couple of projects. And again, when you're that early with some of them, you're going to get those peaks of when it finally gets released and stuff. And I got ahead of a Vulcanverse Metaverse and did a story on the CEO there and got access to get in on that first sale. And then I think that was kind of the mentality is like, Ethereum, Wax, like all these big blockchains are going to have, well, Wax to Ethereum, of course, is two different ones right now in that sense of what's being built on them. But it's one of those, like, I think now, right? Look at Solana, look at Avalanche, look at all these other blockchains that are being built, especially in the gaming sector. They're not slowing down. There's all these projects that are agreeing to be built on them. That's this time right now where everyone's running away, where I think you should be running towards what's going on. Maybe not with your checkbook open, but with your mind and your time open so you can start researching some of these and start getting down some important dates. When are their whitelists? When are their first sales? Then most of them are pushing them back right now. A lot of these projects are pushing them back because they know right now if they're going to sell right now, it's not the best time. And that's where I look at Bored Ape and I go, it's pretty convenient that Bored Ape did that sale right before everything crashed down. I don't know what's up with all that, but it is one of those, and timing is everything too. And last time I felt like this was 2020, was March, April, May, where everything was really bad. Everyone was like, oh, and I'm like, this is a market thing. This isn't a technology thing. Yeah. This is like everything that we know is still working. Ethereum's being still built out. Games are still being built out. Star Atlas didn't just quit. Illuvium didn't just quit. Like, we know these projects are still going, and that's the opportunity. Is understanding that now. Is like the belief is still in you. Move forward then, and just figure out when you want to move in.
It's really tough to like say what if or if I did this in this space because of the opportunity cost of everything, right? Like you could, if you, everybody had a crystal ball, you could be a trillionaire in this market just by the based on, you know, the market caps as they go up in a bull cycle. It would have, and this is where I add the if me and you both had opposite thought processes on investments as opposed to being completely diamond handed holders, because that's essentially like where me and you, like, how can I say this? Like, that's the downfall for both me and you, is that we almost get caught up in the euphoria. We get caught up in believing in it so much that, you know, that it goes up and down, and we're left like, what the hell just happened? You know, that 6 months looked like it lasted a week. So do you feel like you've learned from, you know, this past like 2 years of being in the NFT space, and going forward, what does that look like for you?
A lot of meditation, a lot of discipline, a lot of writing down my entry points and writing out my goal for exit strategies. I think those are things that no matter what, every cycle, euphoria is going to kick in, FOMO is going to kick in, all these levels that we all go with of fear and love and the balance in between of everything and what's happening, especially with money and your relationship with money. I've been happy as a clam with $2 in my wallet, broke as a joke on the road. And I've also had a ton of money in the bank account and been like, I'm just numb right now. I'm not even happy, you know? And so I can see that balance. And I think it's one where, why are you investing and what is your goal with it? Are you FOMOing in because your friends are making money and you don't understand? And I think just having that sense where you can take a step back when it is going crazy. I didn't take a step back, man. I was just like in it with you to the point where looking back, I've made some terrible moves just because I was euphoric and didn't even realize what was truly on the table, the profits that were right there in front of me. And a lot of that just got sucked away with this last bear market, you know, coming down now. And just like 2017, I mean, in 2017, I didn't have a lot of money. And so what I was doing was chasing my tail. I was putting it in one day in one project, and then a week later taking it out, moving it to another, and just, you know, you can't do much with that little liquidity. And then by the end of it, when it crashed at the beginning of 2018, I just left my wallet and was like, okay, well, there's not much in there anyways. And I remember coming back in like 2021 and was like, let me look into these again and see. And most of them were either dead or not doing well. And I think that's another similar thing here. Gary Vee said this, right? 99% of the NFT projects are going to zero. And I think that to a degree, there's a lot of truth in that. And I think just like every cycle, go to like Google and type in like CoinMarketCap top 100, June 8th, 2017, when Buffalo first discovered crypto. See that top 100. And now go in and type in June 16th, 2022's top 100. You're going to see coins that you didn't even know existed back in 2017 that are dead. And those projects, they just changed the name and changed the sign outside and went and created a new one, right? We know a lot of that. But I think it is one, there's going to be another wash here. A lot of play to earn projects and gaming things washed. Some of them are going to try to reinvent themselves, and others are just going to change the name and copy and paste and try to catch the next cycle. And I think for us, it's just one of those, like, opportunity is endless in the space. Even right now, you literally today could go in on investment in the next like week as it's kind of up and down. You can make some plays. That's not my taste. I don't want to sit and watch charts all day and be a trader. I look for those, set them and forget them, believe in the long term of it, and in the meantime create a lot of fun content. And so right now it's all research for me. And I know myself, what did I do in a bull market? Well, I was juggling all sorts of shit and dropping all sorts of shit, and I don't want to be doing that in the next one. So I need a structure. I need to write out each move and have a plan. And my favorite plan is dollar cost averaging, because then it takes the guessing out of it in the sense of when's the best time, you know, and just average it and just let the average tell you. It's like fate. You're like, all right, well, fate's going to tell me when the best time was, and I'm going to get at the average of that. And I think for my brain, I like that. And I think it's one where I still know I'm going to mess up in the next cycle. I think some people like, I won't do that again. And I'm like, this is something I've been hearing from every human being I talk to in the space. No matter what, the shoulda, woulda, couldas are hitting us all hard. Even if you're rich or you're broke, ton of that hits you. And I know I'm going to fuck up again, bro. I'll be real with you. I just know I'm going to be more conscious about it and try to come up with some kind of fail safe, some kind of break glass when get too crazy. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the piece that you hit on like right away was that you were going to write down your entry points, make sure all of that stuff was ready to roll, because then you can actually have a goalpost. Because essentially what happens is in a bull market, those goalposts keep moving, right? You're like, okay, this I'll sell here. Oh no, wait, if it goes 2x a little bit more, I'll have this amount. In those goalposts, you never reach them. essentially what you're doing is just setting those goalposts up, right away. So
the problem too is my goalpost, it was hitting the goalposts like in a week, and especially in NFTs and like my cryptodes, man. I fell in love with cryptodes. I still hold all my cryptodes. I
still remember the episode.
Right. I mean, the passion. They were at like 14 ETH, by the way, during that time. And I'm sitting there like, hey, Snoop Dogg just jumped in. You guys, come on in. The water's fine. And I'm not even realizing the amount of X's on how much the multiplier of my initial investment was. I wasn't even thinking monetary gains at all. I was thinking, this is a cool new community that I luckily got a part of early on, and still love the vibe of it and believe it long term. But that is one where a sane person would have went, wait a minute, you have this much on the table and you're not going to sell these 10 little pictures of these funny toads and instead go get a couple houses? It's like, okay.
Yeah. So the biggest thing there, I think, and I remember those days, Cryptodes, was the comparison between projects. You were saying, okay, Cryptodes is at 14, Bored Apes at 60. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Comparison is the devil. Ricky Bobby, don't you ever compare to the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's the seed that got planted in my brain last cycle. You nailed it right there, my man. I'm glad you brought that up. If you start comparing yourself to an outlier that is something that has emerged that changed the space in the PFP genre, especially with Bored Ape, there's no one else that's done it like Bored Ape has in the PFP. I don't care who you are. Everyone else is a little bit second, thirder. And if you ain't first, you're last, all right? And so it's one of those where they did it. I missed out on it, and I kept thinking I was finding the next one, and I was wrong every time. So can't do that. Each one's unique.
I want to give a quick shout out to Darren Pacquiao. He's saying, evening, gents. Good to see you back, Buffalo. And Asmodai saying, still holding my game NFTs and waiting for the next dev cycle noises coming from the engine camp. Matt Radke's also saying, can we change Mr. Bear's name to Mr. Bull?
I think Matt and Joe did that yesterday. They're like, no, he's Mr. Bull. We're bringing it back. It's like doing a rain dance to get the rain to come or go away. And no, he's Mr. Bear. He's been training me for this. I have a good relationship with the bear, and the bear is here right now. And what I love about the bear is all those people who didn't really fucking believe in this space. They were just in it for the money and purely the money. Most of them aren't going to be around here right now. They all get out, so the party calms down. You can have some deep conversations, some deep growth. And all the people that are here that really believe in it, you're going to be the first ones to get those opportunities when the cycle comes back. And you're going to thank the bear.
And when does that look like it's going to switch for you? Like, what is that trend that you're looking for? I mean, other than, seeing a little bit of movement back upwards in price, what are some things that would make you know that, hey, I think we're kind of turning the corner here?
Well, I just got off the phone with Elon. All right.
Okay.
And, yeah, right. Wouldn't that be something? In my mind,
Janet Powell. She's, I'm on the phone with her right now.
Yeah. She's like, interest rates, they're going way up, but don't worry. Crypto's going up after that. I don't know how it's going to work. Well, we'll make it happen. I think it is one where, you nailed this, man. When we work together so much, you would really call out the narrative. And the narrative in the space a lot can dictate whether projects can be overvalued real quickly or undervalued or rugged, or in the market sense, will it hold or will people bite the narrative? And the narrative right now in the space is that the economy is being pushed into a recession quickly and fast, and hang on to your butts. And it's also the space is going to, be affected. But let's be honest, I feel like we don't want to catch a falling knife here. We do understand, though, that we're getting close to breaking the historical trend of going under the all-time high of the previous cycle. So if she drops under 20 here, I mean, it's anyone's game what's going to happen with Bitcoin. To me, though, it doesn't change much, and I don't think it'll hold long under 20. I'd be shocked if it did, unless we have another Black Swan event or something. I think, though, we are going to get into a little bit of up and down, like nothing's really gaining traction for 6 to 9 months. I think, though, those really important developments that happened in the last cycle, like in NFTs, like in the world, like metaverses and gaming, especially gaming, honestly. That's why I kind of really decided to move more narrow focused on gaming, is I believe that sector hasn't had a top. Yes, Axie had that play to earn. They were on CNBC and everyone in the documentary, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, they're changing third world countries. And I think that was an immersive, like, wow, okay, there is something to play to earn here, but is it sustainable? We all realize it's not in the short term if you don't have the tokenomics in the economy like that inside of these games. But gaming itself, even when COVID happened, it blew up, man. Gaming is bigger than the movie industry. I think gaming is one of the biggest industries to date that literally is still growing, and each one of us has that deep-rooted, kind of wants to get into it and immersed in it. And that's where I go, even if this bear market lasts a year, gaming is going to still grow. It might even decouple. It might just be its own thing after a while. And that's the hopium I want to share with you all today. So let's all take a big hit of it. Oh, that one in. good. That was good. That was good.
We're deep in this conversation, guys. This rabbit hole. I appreciate you passing it over here to the left, Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, founder of Hard Fork Gaming, like a true founder. There, we took a little hit, just like an Elon Musk. Tell me about Hard Fork Gaming, man. What do you got going on with them?
So as you guys just heard with my like passionate rant about the gaming space, really wanted to create a network that is all about the gaming. And the biggest thing that I want to do is not draw a line and say, all right, if you're not blockchain, we don't talk about you, because I think that really ruins what the adoption is going to be like for AAA gaming, regular old mobile gaming, any type of gaming, you know, to embrace blockchain and not look at it as an all-in. That means you're a gamer now? Okay, well, you put it on the blockchain, so your game is a blockchain game. It's like, well, what if we're only using one asset of it? What if it's an underlying thing that the user never even knows about? I think there is a lot that's going to happen right now for the blockchain to embrace gaming that we don't want to draw the line in the sand, and we want to talk about all of gaming. That's why Unreal to me is like the Unreal 5 engine is something, it's not even blockchain related, but it's going to be, and it has been already involved in it. To me, that's something that I would love to chat more about with people, because I believe the wave's coming. And a lot of people are going to come into crypto through gaming that they never did before, but they fell in love with the style of a game that was created to utilize the blockchain. I wish it just wasn't so much focused on the money part. Like, oh, I love this game because look at those returns. It's like, no, dude, look at the graphics, look at the gameplay style, look at what you can do in there in the free will. I think I would love to get a game where it's not even about the money, but there is some assets there, and maybe in 10 years that assets somehow become valuable or something like that. I don't know. But when you take the money part out of it, it gets back to the root of the gaming. And that's where, I don't know if you've watched The Defiant, he did a great 2-part series, which was about all the gamers, traditional gamers, like just ripping apart blockchain and saying any blockchain game is a cash grab. And to a degree, there is some truth to that, because they're really asking for so much up front. And the game isn't even the quality of all the other games in the market. It's actually early 2000s style, right? And I think that is something that it's just going to take some time. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of the play to earn. Like, I never have been. I think over in LADZ, I was honest when we first saw the documentary about Axie. It just, to me, felt like a level of people who had money taking advantage of people who don't have money to make money off of them. And that's where Hard Fork Gaming, we're trying to change that. And instead of a play to earn like guild, we've created a engage to earn guild, an E2E. And what we're trying to do is embrace the more Mr. Beast model and give it away. If you give it away, it will come back to you. If you take the sponsorship funds that we get and put them into NFTs that we give to gamers to play for free, and they hold those NFTs outright, they can sell them right away, they can rent them out, they do whatever they want. We're not owning them in any way, but all we ask for them is to be a gamer. Come over, engage. If we give you a race car NFT, go race. Like, try to compete. We'll even give you tokens to compete on the house. And if you do that, you show us that you're engaging, we're going to put you on the list for the next giveaway. And the next giveaway could be a fighter, or it could be a starship that you're racing in space, or whatever it is. That's what right now I'm trying to kind of create that kind of ecosystem within Hard Fork Gaming, where you just show up and play games. And think of it like PC Gamer. I don't know if you had PC Gamer back in the day, man, but they used to release a little CD in the mail with your magazine every month of all these other games for free. I mean, there were demo modes. But it was one of those, you just never know what you're going to get. And, it's just like Hard Fork Gaming. This next level we're going to do for the Alpha Club, we don't know yet what game it's going to be, but you're going to get those NFTs for free.
Engage to earn sounds way, I feel like we have seen this like massive retraction in people that really came out at first and said, play to earn is the next thing. And now it's almost like a boogeyman word, like it's almost taboo to even say it, because people are like, well, that's just talking about the money. Do you think Axie Infinity and all of these companies are complicit in that? Like, or are they as much at fault with pushing this narrative as it like just turning on its head?
It's tough, because I think it's something we're still trying stuff. I mean, that's like Bored Ape with the PFPs, like, granted, they're still holding a lot of value. Let's say if it crashed, and you blame them, it's like they're trying. This is all brand new. Like, Axie was the first one to really tap into that. And I think they really had so much come at them right away that they weren't even, in my mind, prepared to handle that kind of economy with the tokenomics that are sustainable. And so they had to constantly keep thinking, all right, what do we do to keep this thing from going to zero? And I think those are the first ones through the door get shot. It's one of those, in the space of evolution of technology and the regulation that's coming down the road, we all have to figure out what are we building, and is it something that works for growth, or is it a short-term game for those who got in early? And that's where the play to earn space, there is a balance of that, and I think it's been heavy in the sense of who got the bags that are benefiting from the players, and I would love to see it, who are the players that are getting the bags. And that's where, yes, engage to earn is very similar because we're asking you to play, so it's the same thing as play to earn, but we're not saying we own anything of yours. We're not taking a percentage of what you put in at all. And dude, it's crazy though. The play to earn, engage to earn. I'll list you off all the different to earns real quick. There's where to earn, sleep to earn, plant to earn, dance to earn, read to earn, watch to earn, fill to earn, vote to earn, play to earn, listen to earn, label to earn, move to earn, and sex to earn, my friend. There are so many of them out there. It is endless. And we're just trying to create one, though, that's wholesome. Just engage to earn, man. Just show up with us. Be a part of this. And if you get busy, you got to go get married and stay offline for a couple months. You're not going to benefit from those free NFTs. But if you come on back and you engage again, you'll be right back up in it. So that's kind of where we're headed with it. We'll see what happens, though. Be honest with you, this is still testing this. We're still trying to figure this model out, just like Axie was trying to figure out the play to earn. We're still so early, even the first people don't know what they're truly doing yet.
Yeah, Darren and Chad is touching on my next question here, which is going to be based on all of these kind of evolutions of earn and evolution of blockchain games. What are some games you're looking forward to in 23 that are, potentially going to be big winners as that bull returns next cycle?
And that's the other thing too, is how long is it going to take for that cycle to go, and what are these projects going to do in the meantime? Some of them, like you've been seeing, mini games being created to kind of like keep the lobby of people waiting for the main act to start entertained. I think it's tough. I don't have one clear game right now where I'm like, this is the one, because I still feel a lot of games are copying what we've already seen to a degree, and the big games, there's not enough out yet to know, like the Illuvium Star Atlas kind of style. And big time is definitely something I've been hearing a lot about in the space. And I'm just really excited for, honestly, a metaverse type of immersion game where you literally could be in there all day and night. I have not played, I'll be honest with you, most of the games I play right now, they're not on the blockchain yet. Like Valheim, we talk about that every day, man. Valheim's not on the blockchain, but if it was, that would be amazing. So for me, yeah, it's one of those. Phantom Galaxies is one that I definitely feel like has potential. I would love to get into that more. And like I said, Big Time has been one that I'm getting these vibes of like a World of Warcraft style that I'm like, wow, if you can draw in AAA or regular gamers into this right now, and they're not in it for the blockchain, they're in it because the game looks amazing, then that one I think will do well. But honestly, there's still so much research I want to do in this bear market. And next time I come on, I want to have a fatty list for you guys of boom, here's the ones that I'm all in, because it's still so early in the bear market. We're still early, and we're also still early in this cycle of
we're early times. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
I checked out your guys' channel. I've been like watching a lot of your episodes. Justin Kahn was definitely a guy who you had on the network that was like a great interview. What did you take from Justin, who is the co-founder of Twitch, about where maybe streaming platforms are going, where, even a product like YouTube, which all of us are on right now, esports tournaments, like what did you take from Justin about this next evolution? Because he obviously saw streaming, happening and created Twitch. So what did you take from that?
Well, first of all, the fact that the creator of Twitch has created a launch pad with Fractal that's built on Solana for all the games coming on Solana, what they do is they dox the teams, they do their full research, and then they help launch those games with doing content for them or doing the launch and then doing tournaments about it. And Fractal is very impressive out the gate. I mean, it's one where you see someone who created Twitch, you think, oh man, what's he gonna do in this space? And I think when we talk to him, he definitely is cool and calm, has the patience of, he knows what he's getting into here. He knows this is going to be a long-term plan. Esports, I think you nailed it there. Esports is something I've been hearing time and time again with the meetings I'm in. I come from live television background. I've directed a lot of live television, and I've worked in like big gaming tournaments like Dota, which to me was one of the biggest ones I worked, where there are millions of dollars on the line, packed stadiums of people freaking out while there's 5 gamers playing on a keyboard in the middle of an arena. But it's sold out, and people love that. And it's not on the blockchain yet. And I believe there are going to be a lot of esports tournaments and true gaming guilds that have pro gamers like that in this. And I feel like in the next year or so, we're going to start to see some sort of medium there for a blockchain esports gamer to actually make a career out of it. And I think that's where, talking to Justin, they see that. They want to create tournaments as well. We want to work with them as well on tournaments. Hell, Kagi was on yesterday in the Juice Guild. They're really trying to, hire up some pro gamers. And I think that's going to be a thing moving forward when these games get good enough to actually be entertaining to watch. Because let's be honest, Axie is one of those, it's a tough watch. I mean, as playing it by yourself, it is what it is. But if you had 1,000 people online watching that aren't Axie enthusiasts, it's not one of those style of games. But when you can get some shooter games work, some of them not so much, but you get a really immersive shooter game, or you get like a Dota or a League of Legends, which has so many chess player type of moves, and people go down the rabbit. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to direct some of these live tournaments in the blockchain space, and the prizes. Oh, the prizes, the giveaways, the engagement, the rarity things that could happen in these games. It's going to really be so much different than, your traditional gaming, that I just can't wait. I can't wait to be a part of it. And at first it's going to be slow, but I think at one point we'll have packed stadiums for blockchain games.
Now, is Hard Fork looking to get into that environment with your guild potentially? Could you see like an esports Hard Fork team? And then what are the other things you guys are getting ready for on like a roadmap kind of piece?
So with the Alpha Club, our goal is to have up to 1,000 Alpha members that all receive NFTs per project. Right now we're going with Alpha 100. So we're really auditing each person to make sure they're real, they're not a bot, they're engaging, they're following through with all these things. And when you do that, you move up to the next list, and our goal is to have 1,000 of them. But anyone on the list, if they have gaming skills, they're going to have the opportunities to compete in tournaments, and if they do well, they'll win something. And that's the big thing. Like Mr. Beast, if you watch his YouTube, a lot of the people you see on there competing in those were subscribers, which won through his contest. Now, there had to be a bit of auditing. He's not just going to let any random subscriber on his channel come onto his show. And the same with us. We're going to audit to make sure you're a real person. You're going to show up. You can qualify. You can actually play the game. We're going to ask. But I'm all about it, man. I'm a huge sports fanatic. I love, I've got a coach's mentality in me, and really want to get the best out of my team and my players. So anybody who loves the gaming space, loves blockchain, and wants to have a coach like me behind them, man, come on over to Hard Fork Gaming, because we're putting a team together as well. And we might just call ourselves the Forkers, all right? And the Hard Forkers. I don't know. We're patent pending here. We'll figure it out, though.
Awesome, man. What's next for Buffalo, too? I've got some questions here in the chat, and guys, drop your last questions for Buff before he gets up out of here. But what's next for you as in your personal life? I know you moved from Seattle, so you just hanging out in the old Sandog and chilling out?
Man. I still have to pinch myself to realize what I left, which was a studio apartment downtown Seattle during COVID, where people were twice. I had to wear 2 masks, one for my face and one for my beard. I swear to God, it was a lot. And I love people. I love walking down the street and smiling at people or saying a funny liner in the grocery line. And I was not speaking when I went to the grocery store during COVID, in Seattle. It was like, I felt like it was the airport or some craziness. And so leaving that, my energy level has just been, I'm just floating now, having a place here with a backyard, and I even got a disc cage out there to play some disc golf and a pool. And I'm loving being outside and getting some sun. It's been amazing. There's no Mrs. Buffalo yet. Kind of been off the market. Sorry, ladies. Might come back. Might do a white list ahead of time. So if you're interested, let me know.
Oversubscribed.
Yeah, oversubscribed.
Is it a free mint?
One of one.
Is it a free mint, or what's going on?
Yeah, shit. It's a free mint, pay to burn. I don't know, man. We'll figure it out. But I've really been all in on this space to the point where I've kind of get tunnel vision, and especially starting up Hard Fork with Matt and Joe, and had Fun Uncle and others on board, and it was really starting to get too big for its britches early. And so we're kind of still in infancy mode. We're learning how to walk and talk, and I'm hoping now that I'm in a better place and get more active, get out there, that I could start hanging out in the real world a lot more. So if there's any conferences in Vegas, bro, we definitely got to go to Vegas together. Next NFT New York City, count me in. I can't miss 3 in a row. That's 3 strikes, you're out. Maybe Bitcoin Miami. I would do that one as well. And then there's NFT LA. And I just found out Stash is on the West Coast. So there's a lot of people
out in LA, man. Gifts out in LA. There's a lot of people out in LA.
Yeah, I got to do a tour. I do a press junket. That's right. Easy's right, man. So I just got to start hanging out with a lot of the people in the space in the real world. And I think that makes such a huge difference with my energy, just getting the bonding going, the fact that they really are 6'8" Buffalo. Like, I just love in real, hanging out with people. I'm a festival guy and haven't been to one since COVID. So that's a big part, man, is trying to get back out there. And might go to the Dave Grohl's tribute concert for Taylor Hawkins, the drummer that died for the Foo Fighters. In September, they got a memorial tour that I might go to. So that would be my first concert since COVID as well.
Awesome, man. I got a couple lightning questions. I usually end the show just like really quickly. Favorite times at LADZ? What were some of my favorite times? God. The Sandbox was a great one. That one was fantastic.
Especially because I could feel your energy. I knew that you were as happy as I was because we love that movie. Both love baseball, and to have two of like the actors that had really cool moments in it too.
Yeah.
And how I just loved how they let us talk about the movie so much. I felt bad because we barely even talked about their project. We were just like, hey, so in this scene, it's just like they were so cool about that. That was one of my favorites. Mike Shinoda. I love Linkin Park. The fact that we had him on.
Yeah.
There was even some technical difficulties right beforehand. He got off one show of his. Was trying to get him dialed in with ours. It wasn't working. I could see Mike Shinoda getting a little red in the face. I'm like, no, got to calm down, Shinoda. And then luckily was able to figure out, and get him dialed in for the show, which made me so happy. I remember I was on cloud 110, the rest of that weekend after that show. And LADZ City Radio, I'll be honest with you. Loved LADZ City Radio. Loved playing music and chatting with her. I love hearing that too, and I've been hearing it for some people. They're like, well, what's up with that, man? You can get back into that? And the answer is yes. I definitely want to do some more. As I'm still in the early moments of building out the kind of structure of things, but getting back to that music, getting back to just interviews with people like you do here with Nifty Q Show, right? This is I always feel great when I have interviews with people, and I want to get back to that for sure.
Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, come on to NFT Live anytime as well. Like we're doing that. We're actually moving that to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we'd love to get you guys in there. Tell Matt and Joe as well. Fantastic interview. I think we hit on pretty much. Did I have a couple more things? You had a Valheim server that I'm getting into.
That's right.
That's for sure. There's a couple more things. I feel like this episode can go on forever.
It could.
If we don't.
We'll do part 2, part 3, part 4.
Part 2.
And then the extended edition, we'll just go along with it.
Got to pay extra for that. Okay. All right. Well, guys, this was the Nifty Q Show. We are doing NFT Live tomorrow. DJ Savage is hosting, and we have some awesome co-hosts as well on there, of course. Nifty Q Show is moving. So NFT NYC next week. Afterwards, we'll be moving to Tuesday, Thursday. NFT Live will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So it's like a full 5-week thing. Live content every day, guys.
Packing it in, man.
Yeah.
Don't you usually ask them about their book suggestions?
I stopped doing that. The book recommendation question.
What?
But let me get a book recommendation question for old time's sake, Buff. What do you got?
All right. Everybody poops. No, I'm just playing. That's a good book, but
take that. All right, later.
No one's gonna get it. Yeah. On that note, man, for me, I'm gonna be back in the dating scene soon, and one of the best books I ever came across is "If the Buddha Dated." So, any guys out there that are struggling with, lady problems or ladies struggling with men problems, "If the Buddha Dated," one of my highest recommended books I can give you, and also "Richest Man in Babylon." There you go. Those are my 2 faves right now.
Love it, guys. We had an awesome conversation with Crypto Buffalo. He was back in LADZ City. We're going to head over to the Dollhouse. Buff, the Dollhouse is still there.
Oh, they're going to let me back in after what I did last time. Okay.
I had to pull a few strings, but we're going to go.
I appreciate it.
We're going to go ahead. Guys, thanks for tuning into the Nifty Q Show today. Buff, always a great time talking with you, my friend. And
hell yeah, man.
Let's get in Valheim and let's take over the world.
I love it, man. Thanks for having me on, brother.